No. No. He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
The following program is rated MA for mature audience only. This program is specifically designed to be viewed by adults only and therefore may be unsuitable for children under 17. This program may contain one or more of the following: crude indecent language, explicit sexual activity, graphic violence, or may contain intense sexual situations not suitable for younger audience. Parental guidance is suggested.
Hey everybody, what's poppin'? It's your girl, I Am Your Karma, and this is Petty Talk. We're here with the author of Stuck Between Two Different Worlds and Strong Bonds Never Break, E.L Discipline. Welcome.
Thank you.
Now, for the guests that are listening and don't know who you are.
For the guests who are listening who do not know who I am the disruptor of the status quo. I am the beast incarnate. I am chocolate in human form. I am the dominant. Pertaining to the BDSM lifestyle. Yes. And I have 6 books. And right now, like with Petty Talk, it's gonna get really interesting because my books are embodying the lifestyle BDSM. Now with BDSM, it's something that's very common. I believe that everyone is enticed to the lifestyle, but it's how they were, how they witnessed the lifestyle. You know, I don't think it's been properly introduced or educated right or adequately, and that's why we're here.
So for the ones who don't really know about this lifestyle, like a lot of people, I was mentioning on the House of Karma, a lot of people confuse BDSM with like porn.
Or abuse.
Mm-hmm. Or it's
and all those things are like physical. I mean, abuse could be psychologically too as well. But I believe that BDSM, there's so much quirks and you know, nook and crannies for the BDSM lifestyle, and people need to educate themselves, you know, because there's safe words, you know, things that aren't even in like an abusive relationships.
How does one, let's say somebody who never experienced anything like that and they want to experience, how does one get into that lifestyle, I guess?
Proper education and finding the right person, knowing your identity. You know, that first book, The Seduction of Discipline, is primal. You know, that book is potent with a plethora of information. You know, I believe that it's harder for women because it's the trust factor. You know what I mean? There are so many posers out there who are women, you know, women love sex more than men. Let's get that out of the way first. Let's get that out of the way first. Women love sex more than men. And, you know, finding that adequate partner that you're pursuing and trusting them, you know, that's the biggest thing. Because women don't respect men they can't trust.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So trust is like a huge thing when it comes to this.
And you know how some traditional relationships, they can engage with each other with just a little bit of trust. In BDSM, you need a significant amount of trust.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need a significant amount of sacrifice. A significant amount of challenge beyond the body, you know what I mean, a significant amount of love as well, and all those things will build to create a phenomenal sexual chemistry.
So this is not at all sexist. It's not that men are, you know, better than women, or that men, you know, have to control women. It's just about trust.
It depends on the dynamic. Like going back to what you're saying about about a control thing, that's the myth. I think the biggest myth is one party must be weak in order for the relationship to be successful. What people don't realize is, or they fail to realize is, they both strengthen one another. So it's like yin and yang, peanut butter and jelly. You know, one can't do without the other. You know what I mean? And it's like two, each half, and then they come together. So with BDSM, it depends on that dynamic. You know, it depends on what you are, like who you are as a dominant. Like, are you a sadist? Are you a dominant? And in my first book, The Seduction of Discipline, I explain all of that. I explain what a sadist is. I explain what a master is. I explain what a dominant is. I explain what a masochist is. I explain what a baby girl, psychological sub. Because the psychological sub, right, is pretty much sapiosexual. You know, I have these things I do on my page, discipline_beast07. That's my page on Instagram. That I do this trend, hashtag sapiosexual Saturdays. Sapiosexual is someone who's aroused by intelligence. They need that emotional connection built. You know, so there are different types of women out there, and you need to find out what you are, what you love. You know, just because you may love your hair being pulled or your ass being spanked, or, you know, you being reaching a brink of asphyxiation by a man putting his hand around your throat. You may love that. You may love being pushed up against the wall. You may just be a masochist. You may not be submissive. You know what I mean? The masochist and submissive are different. A submissive could have masochistic tendencies, but she may not be a submissive. You know what I mean?
I'm glad that you explained that, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who have it confused. They automatically assume...
And they get the... Go ahead.
Sorry. They just automatically assume that this lifestyle is physical and...
all the time.
And degrading, but it's really not.
Yes, it's empowering. What some women find degrading, others find empowering. You know, you can, like, for example, my subs, I love them to be bosses. You know, and I think a lot of women find that astonishing. They're probably listening to this like, what? I love them to be bosses, but when we're together, I'm the boss. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, if we look at the carnivorous felines in the safari, the lions, right? The lioness is the lieutenant, but the alpha dominant king lion is the general. You know, when they need to feed the entire pride, they need that masculinity. They need that strength. So those guys will come against them with themselves and go hunt bigger mammals like buffalo, right? Because the women are, you know, they're smaller. Right. And at that moment when those kings leave, the dominant females are protecting the pride. You know, so like I love my women to be bosses, but when you're with me, don't overstep me. There's a difference. You could be this dominant person, pump your chest, be a savage to other people, but you should never be that way to your king. There's a big difference, and I think people, they put a certain persona, because there's also relationships that engage just in the sexual environment as well. Like I'm a 24/7 adamant dominant. This is not just something bedroom. When the door opens, I'm this way as well. Right. You know, and I feel like there are some women out there who they're like CEOs of day-to-day work, and they come home and they want to relinquish control. And on the flip side, men are like that as well. Men are like the CEO, they run the board, and you would never think, but they like to go home and probably get spanked.
Right. I know somebody who used to like to be put in a corner and told, like, get in the corner and don't move. Or I mean, there's some men that like to get dominated too. So I know it goes both ways. I mean,
dominant and submissive is not just like male, like relationship, like, you know, intimate relationship. It could be like parents. It could be like, you know what I mean? Like it could be like mother and father, you know what I mean? Dynamic, or father and child dynamic.
I think having that book your first book,
The Seduction of
The
Discipline.
Seduction of Discipline. If a female is interested in this lifestyle, that is definitely the book to get.
Definitely.
So that you could learn about it. You could, and you had said
It's
something about knowing oneself.
Yes, chapter 3, substandards.
Right.
I talk about the different women, different subs.
But I feel like a lot of women might not know what they are, and that's why it's imperative,
Yeah.
if they are interested in this lifestyle, to get that book so that they can read and say, "Oh, I identify with that person,
Yes.
with that one," which would be, you had said sapiosexual.
Yes.
You know, maybe it's not for them to be, you know, I'm not ready to get choked or I'm not ready to get hit, but you want to get to know each other mentally.
Yes. Yes.
There are, you know, males and females alike that need that mental connection first.
I mean, affairs don't begin in the bedroom. They start via conversation. You know what I mean? Like words are a woman's weakness, and it's like at the end of the day, for a male, you have to talk your way to the bedroom. You know what I mean? There are some guys who do get lucky. You know, they're like 6'8", they're light skinned, they got blue eyes, and you know, a girl could look at them and say, "Oh, I want to take him to bed right away," and she'll walk up to him because there are 2%. 2% ratio of women in this world who are aggressive, who are assertive, and they will walk up to a man and say, "Let's go to bed right then and there." But then there are some men who have to work because there are those women who are more internal. You know what I mean? They want that stimulation. They need more. They require more substance.
Now, being a dominant, is it possible for a dominant to be like loyal? Because most women would think, okay, so this person has subs or whatever, so he must not be loyal. He must be a player. That's what I'm assuming, that they, when they look at someone, oh, he's handsome or whatever. But
Those are the
he must not
misconceptions.
be.
Those are the misconceptions.
So
Those are the myths and all that. Like, loyalty is one of the biggest things. Loyalty, trust, respect, mutually. All these things are.
So it's like an understanding that you all have.
Yeah, it's also something that needs to be understood, like you were saying, between the dynamic. Like if a male is with a woman and he says, "Listen, I'm polyamorous. You know, I have other subs," you know, she has to be cool with that. But I believe that, you know, being honest up front, you know what I mean? Like, don't try to manipulate anyone into this lifestyle.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you're going to hurt that trust. You know, and you're going to feel that because when you go to get intimate, you're going to feel that reluctancy. You know what I mean? Body language.
But basically like I'm sorry to bring this up, but like the movie
50 Shades.
50
No, we
Shades.
can bring it up because that's like the
How
only thing.
the man in the movie is like loyal to that one girl.
I think it's
is that fantasy or is that?
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like earlier you had said in the beginning of the show, so it's not about humiliation, and it's not about humiliation maybe with this particular dominant, because I've seen on Instagram certain up and coming rappers,
yeah.
right, with chains around their
Right.
you know, their female's neck, walking them like they're dogs. That's his preference. That might
Right.
not be, you know, E.L.
Right.
Discipline's preference.
Yeah, everybody. I'm not going to downgrade anybody else's lifestyle. I'm not going to say that's not BDSM. I mean, my BDSM is very private with my sub, my slave, or my subs, plural. And I believe that walking with a woman side by side, holding her hand in public is more powerful than, oh, I'm going to put a collar around your neck and I'm going to walk you around in public. You know what I mean? My thing is like, I respect my woman, you're going to respect my woman.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing, because a lot of people are going to have their misconceptions. They're going to build their own narrative about what the lifestyle is. Oh, this is taboo. This is disgusting. This is what that. And by people doing that, it makes a fear of people that are in this lifestyle for a long period of time. I've been in this lifestyle for 11 years, but people that have been in this lifestyle for 20 years afraid to come out, afraid to talk about this because of other people.
And me and you we know somebody who I can honestly say that they portray themselves to be basically like a dom,
Yeah, we're
But
not gonna
in all
name any
reality,
names.
no, we're not gonna name no.
No.
Not important. But in all reality, it's a
Let-
front.
let me tell you
because they're
something.
not really
Let me-
living
let me
that
tell- and let me-
lifestyle.
and let
And
me-
that's
let me
what's
cut you off.
dangerous for females trying to get in, who
Yes,
are interested.
this is what I said.
Absolutely.
That's what's scary about it.
Let me
Exactly.
cut y'all off for a minute. Eventually, fake, fraudulent activity will be exposed. Do y'all know why? Consistency. That's why. It's very difficult for you to sustain that persona, because it's a persona.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's an act. It's like it's a character. Like
Right.
me, I'm not a character. I'm not an actor of a
Right.
show. I'm not an actor in real life. Like this is who I am.
This
This
is
is
real
you know what I mean? I
life,
come
yeah.
from I also come from a very dominant alpha family.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm Haitian Dominican, and it's like, you know, just because you might meet some people are like a Haitian or Dominican a male could hear me, and it's kind of like, oh, I'm Haitian Dominican too. No, it doesn't mean you're dominant. Like, don't start thinking just what I do, you can do as well.
Right.
This is not something you learn in school. This is. Go
No,
ahead. You
I
seem
was
like you're
gonna
gonna say something.
That is exactly what I feel with that
And-
person. He
but-
sees how you are and wants to live your lifestyle. And that's not really.
And what happens is, this is what happens. Here's the biggest thing, right? I get many women who approach me because of this lifestyle.
Right.
I'm a different type of man. And I feel like men witness that and they want to be in the same boat. So let's say, for example, a girl posts a picture, right? A very graphic picture. Whatever it is, we keep, we can,
Right.
this is
Body
uncut,
parts.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's
That's okay.
pulling her hair, spanking her ass, picture,
Right.
right? And she says, oh, I love this. Those men are paying attention to that post, and now they want to act it out. That's like a woman saying, I love ballerinas. Now you see all these men come out of the bushes with tights.
Right.
Men always want to do that versus being yourself. Like, it's not working for you. Be yourself and work and work with what you can work with. If you're a shy person, work with that. If you're somebody who's a comedian, tell jokes.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're someone who's dominant, be dominant.
Right.
Just because one girl may not like that, 20 will.
So-
You know what I mean? If you're not that, don't be that, because eventually you're going to be exposed. Women are not stupid. They're like wolves. They can smell dominance. They can smell fear. They can smell, like when you walk into a room and your pheromones all over, they can sense that. You know what I mean? So women are not stupid.
Right,
So-
but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But a woman who doesn't know about that lifestyle meets a man like that will be totally turned off.
Yeah, but
And
that-
now it's going to make it even more difficult for her to find out unless
yes,
she get that
and that's
book.
dangerous.
That's true.
It's dangerous too, because a man like that could be abusive.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And he could just putting up a front, right? In the beginning, and it's like now she doesn't know. And he doesn't realize what he's doing, because he thinks, oh, if she does this, I need to punish her. Like
Right.
myself, I try to avoid punishment as much as I can. But when I punish you, you're gonna feel it.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You're gonna feel it. It's not just physical, it's psychological. But I try to avoid it. But my punishment is more developing. My lifestyle is not associated with inadequate development. I
Right.
want to make you better.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I try
And
to
you educate them
yes,
as well.
yes, and that's why I feel like I'm the best dominant in the world. And people could think I'm being presumptuous, you know what I mean? But I don't engage with somebody without educating them to a T, because I'm all about patience. Even though I'm dominant, I'm all about patience. I want you to want to be here,
Right.
because when you love doing your job, you're gonna do a great job.
Right. Well, this topic is very, very hot and interesting. But we're gonna go on a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna speak more with author E.L Discipline, and we're also gonna talk about his books.
A lot of BDSM in the books.
Because you love music, we have it all here.
LDM Radio.
Station. Solo hits musicales. Porque te encanta la música, te la tenemos toda aquí. Only music hits para ti.
Hi. Listen to the music, relax, and have fun.
Hi, this is Kelly Clarkson.
Hi, this is Madonna.
Hi, this is Sugar Bae.
Hey, I'm Mariah Carey.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams. Hi, this is Paul McCartney.
Hey, this is Kylie.
Hi, this is Simon Cowell.
Hey, it's Katy Perry.
Hi, we're
You're in the mix with
RDM Radio.
Standing by for transmission.
Hello, my name is Araya.
And I'm Selena. And when I grow up, I want to be a nurse.
Did you know that individuals who drive while sending or reading text messages are 23% more likely to be involved in a car crash more than other drivers?
Also, a car crash is typical, happens within an average of 3 seconds after a driver is distracted.
The United States Department of Transportation notes that cell phones are involved in 1.6 million auto crashes in a year.
That causes 500,000 injuries and takes 6,000 lives.
On February 19, 2011, Ashley Jones Davis was killed in a horrific car accident. She was texting and driving when she left the center lane and drove head into a box truck. But she stopped short, writing in her final message, "I can't discuss this right now. Facebooking and driving is not safe." Because of this, a new law was made.
We have families that will miss us.
We also have futures.
There is no text that cannot wait until later.
So let's take this pledge and say no to texting and driving.
Together we can spread the word and save a life. Don't text and drive.
Hey guys, welcome back to Petty Talk. We're here with Author E.L Discipline, and we're having a steamy conversation right now.
Intense.
Very intense.
One thing, not to cut you off, one thing I wanted to talk about is me being a this adamant dominant, right? Women approach me all the time, whether it's on social media, in person, and I'm a different type of animal. I'm a different type of male because you have to approach me with a certain level of substance. Don't look at me as the next guy, like, oh, I could send him a poon pic, or I could send him, boobs or whatever, and I'm going to get his attention. I'm not a slave to that. I'm not a slave to you. You're going to approach me with respect. You know what I mean? Like, get to know me. Because a lot of women are subs to doms. They're not subs to these people like that, as men. They know them as the character. And even though I'm a dominant, I'm still a man. So it's like when you approach me, that's not going to get my attention. That's going to get you blocked.
Right.
While other men who will be like, oh, let me jump on that, and I'm a dominant, and and they're exposing themselves, and they're doing all this other stuff. That's why I wanted to come on this show, because I wanted to set things straight.
Absolutely. One of the questions...
I don't like, sorry to cut you a bit, I want to say one more thing. I don't like that certain things are being portrayed, and they're demonizing the lifestyle people like myself really lead.
Right.
I'm tired of it. And it's like, it's making people, more so women, apprehensive, saying, oh, this person is a demon. He's a dominant. He has to be a demon. He has to be a sadist. He has to be whatnot.
Or he must be abusive or something like that. And that's not the lifestyle. Well, I think a lot of women, they fear to be with somebody like a dominant because automatically they assume, oh, this person must be a pimp because he has all these women. And so that's why I wanted you to elaborate on that, because it's a lot of fake doms out here.
There are different dynamics, first of all. So there can be what traditional people would label as pimps or whatever it is, but a dominant is not a pimp. Okay. You know what I mean? Depending on what your definition of pimp is. You know how like media portrays certain things, like they take gangster to be something as robbers or whatnot, killers or whatever. But a real gangster is a businessman. A real gangster is quiet. Right. A real gangster moves in silence. A real gangster is calm. They're well educated. They're well-read individuals. They know the law. They try to avoid as much violence as possible. However, if there is a case where it needs to be violence, they handle it and they rectify it adequately. You know what I mean? Without losing less physicality as possible. So I wanted to, explain that, because I think people just are so lazy. They don't want to educate themselves. They don't want to learn people. And that's the number one thing, learning the individual. Who cares about 50 Shades was out? Who cares about all this other stuff that was out? Learn the person you're trying to pursue, their idiosyncrasies, their behaviors, their patterns, social dynamics, voice tonality, body language, eye contact. Interact with someone physically. Take them out on a date. Take them out on a date. Like, texting somebody is not getting to know them.
Right.
Instagram DMs, Twitter DMs, that's not how you get to know somebody. Because energy is powerful. You know, and you feel that energy because when you get into the bedroom, it's either intensified or it's not. So that's way how you make a woman orgasm or you don't. You see some women that could never orgasm and they're like, man, I got there's a problem with me. There's a problem with me because I never orgasm. And then they meet someone else and they're like, wow, I orgasmed 14 times in one session. That's like you driving a Honda forever.
Right.
And then you never think there's Ferraris out there. And then you see a Ferrari fully loaded and you drive it and you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
So how can women not be victims to these fake me out, I want to say, doms who are really just out there just trying to get some poon poon and they don't really care about educating them. They're just trying to get
trying to trick them
and trying to make themselves seem like they're more than
women have all the power. I always reference chess. You know what I mean? And I want to get to the book.
Yes,
I know we're talking a lot. I will always reference chess, how the king is the most prominent piece, but the queen is the most powerful. She does everything to protect the king. That's the analogy of chess. That's the game of chess. And I always believe women are queens. They're powerful. But the men are kings. They're important.
Right.
You know, and I look at it as you have to get to know yourself and the person. I think women love sex so much that when they've had bad sex for such a long time and then they witness this, they're like, I'm going to have good sex, and they start falling slaves to sex. They don't get to know the person or they like the person. They get start with sex. That's why when a woman wants to pursue me, I don't take her to bed right away. I test her.
Right.
I test her to see what is going to be. Does she want me because of my superpowers? You know what I mean?
Does she want me for my body?
You know what I mean? Like, does she want me for these things? So these superficial things, these ideas of me, do you love the idea of a dominant or do you love what I can provide you?
I mean, you have so much knowledge and you're so passionate about this lifestyle. So I want to kind of get into the book real quick. What made you write the Seduction of Discipline and keep going from there? Because you're like 6 books in.
Yeah, I did 5 books. I published 5 books in under a year, and then I did 6 books in a year and a half. And a lot of people are like, "Oh wow, like that's amazing," and I'm like, "This is regular. I should have been doing this a long time ago. My mind races at 50 miles per second. You know, I should have been doing this a long time ago." And you know, as I reiterate, but I created the first book of the Seduction of Discipline to eradicate any misconceptions pertaining to BDSM. Now, there's still a lot of people who don't know what the acronym BDSM is. I keep saying BDSM, the acronym, but it means something. It's an acronym. It means bondage, discipline, dominance, sadism, submission, and masochism. So some people engage in S&M, sadism and masochism. Some people engage in BD, bondage. Bondage could be physical as well as psychological. Like, for example, a long-distance relationship. She may just talk to anybody else. She don't want to sleep with anybody else. Or we're in her town, it's psychological. Right. I think sex starts with the mind. Right. You know, good sex is physical, but great sex is mental. Right. You know, so in that book, I don't just educate on the BDSM lifestyle. I talk about sapiosexuals. I talk about the intellects. I talk about all these different women. You know, women who go after, like, gold diggers, you know, and men who don't have money, but they have the gift of gab. Right. And, you know, like Biggie said in One Chance, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay coochie down to the socks, rings, and watch filled with rocks. I smell good. I look nice. I got jewelry. I still get women. Right. You know what I mean? I'm fat and ugly. Like, what does that mean? That's and then you have women like the sapiosexuals who I'm saying they gravitate to men who are not those.
What I was going to say is, it's funny, you wrote that first book to eradicate all that, and it, as it turns out, it's a book that I feel, like I said before, a lot of women should get.
Educate.
To educate themselves.
Yeah. And I have many,
and men too.
Men too. I have different. I have some stories I implemented in the literature, but I have a chapter 5, the life of a dominant. You know, I talk about the differentiation between alpha males and beta males, and feminine energy and dominant energy, and I talk about the confidence and dominance of a male, because I think confidence is huge. You know, you don't learn that in school, and no matter what you look like or what type of job you have, if you have confidence, you get a woman.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because women don't really care about stuff like that. They don't really care about all that stuff. Like women, yes, they are the prime consumers in this world because, you know, they have to make a living. Most women are single mothers and whatever. They're in single relationships.
Right.
But
how did you make that jump from the first book all the way going through to number 6 now? Like, how did you come up with your the idea for your second book or your third book?
So the second book is completely non-BDSM. It's non-BDSM. The second book, The Importance of Discipline, is non-BDSM. Like it's a self-help, inspirational, motivational book. You know, I talk about what's really going on in the world, the climate.
So it's more like your thoughts.
Yes.
Your beliefs and your thoughts put into paper.
Yes, certain nutrition. You know, we should how we eat is how we think, what we look like.
That is so true.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into
What
that.
about
Let
the
people
third
get the
book?
book.
What about
The third book? Discipline's World.
Yeah.
That's BDSM erotica, straight sex from the first chapter to the 20th chapter.
So what made you want to get into erotic, writing erotica novels, or did you ever think that was that something
It's
that you
easy.
always wanted to do?
I think it's just easy because part of me living the life is easy. It's like I think 49% of Discipline's World is true story, and then the rest I made up, the fictional characters.
And how did you come up with the characters?
It's just I was in Barnes and Nobles one day, just roaming through, and then Discipline is actually a character because I have like a book series. So stuck between The Seduction of Discipline, Discipline's World, and The Immortality of Discipline are all a book series.
Right, I like
so
that.
the Discipline character of me, I've utilized as this fictional character, where it's like third person.
Now, in Stuck Between Two Different Worlds,
That is totally opposite of everything.
it's a whole different
It's a whole different genre.
story.
But I still keep the BDSM in there because Dominic, the main character, is a master in the BDSM life, and he has Estrella, the slave, and Sophia, his regular wife. So Sophia, they had Rey and Reina, which is king and queen in Spanish, for the readers, listeners, and they have a regular relationship, and what it is he's hiding this BDSM from her, because just like people out there, they're afraid of how my wife known me since we were in high school. How is she gonna look at me now, living this lifestyle? She may not accept me.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, acceptance. And so the slave knows everything about the wife, but the wife doesn't know anything about the slave.
And that's really how it be sometimes in reality.
So that's why it's like stuck between two different worlds. Like he's stuck between two different worlds. He wants to stay loyal to the slave, Estrella, but Sophia, his wife, that's his ride or die. Like they came up together. I mean, when he wanted to, they come from a low income environment. So their rise to power, he wanted to go meet with this man who's an Italian mobster, but he doesn't know. And Sophia's 2 months pregnant. So as he's speaking with the man's like, you're unique and you're talented, but I don't do business with, color. But I say something different in the book.
Right.
And
the N-word.
The N-word, yeah. And he's like, no, I'm fine, to each their own. Dom is cerebral. He's going to find out who your tenant is, and now you're going to be working for him. So he's cerebral, while Sophia's physical. So she pulls out the firearm and puts it to his temple. Oh, my husband may not take offense, but I do. So this is what's going to happen. You don't want to do business with us? Fine. We don't want no middleman. You're going to sign everything over to us, or I make you famous tomorrow morning. So she's the more ride or die woman. And that's kind of like, people will say, well, why'd he marry her if he has this slave that will do anything he wants? Right. So he's not a serial, what would you call that? Like a serial... polyamorous, but a serial dater,
right?
We would say he's not a serial dater. Like he's loyal to the slave, what I mean, and he's still kind of loyal to his wife. So it's stuck between two different worlds.
So does the wife ever find out?
We have a sequel. Strong Bonds Never Break.
And this, I mean, the cover of both books are
phenomenal.
Phenomenal, very beautiful women. I'm sure it wasn't hard at all to find models.
I mean, it was. It was
hard?
Yes, it was. I don't compensate my models, and capital wise, and I know a lot of people out there like, what? You don't pay your models? I look at it like this, right? If you're an IG Twitter model, you don't have a manager, you're not hustling me. I'm an astute, savage businessman. You know, I had contracts there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I had contracts there. So my thing was, as far as compensation goes, I think plenty of, and I don't want to bash musical artists, but they do it a lot. They see a bad chick, she deserves to get paid a lot of money.
Right.
And me, I'm a type of person where I want to pay you for your services, not for your looks.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not for your looks. And I'm not trying to get anything out of it, while some men will want to pay you for your looks, and it's not fair to people that's really working hard.
Right.
You know, in this book, Strong Bonds Never Break, Dominic says that to one of the girls, like, because she's like, oh, can we do business? Can we go beyond business? And he's like, I already paid you. You know what I mean? Like, get out of here. I didn't pay you for your looks. I paid you for your services.
Right.
You know, and I'm the type of person where I also wanted to showcase different women. You know, because like most of them are black women, Latinas, and I want to uplift more of those women who never got a chance to be on the cover of a magazine, but they just been working hard. And my thing is, I love people that work hard, yo. I love people that research. I love people that when they're pursuing to engage with me, they research me. That shows me you're working hard. I love people that work hard. I love to reward them, you know, versus somebody that I think is look good. I look at it like these models. Why should they get paid when I'm the one that's telling them what to do? I'm working.
Well,
if I wanted to create a movie for this, you know what I mean? I was like, then they deserve to get paid because that's acting. That's more work.
But being put on a cover, period, is huge. So for any, I mean, you got to look at it as networking opportunities.
Yes, and
we were talking about networking earlier.
Yes, and I wanted to kind of eradicate that whole video vixen things. Because sometimes women get that whole thing misconstrued. So they look at a guy like me, they look at my page, oh, he got a fitted. He's tatted up. He must be a rapper.
He got a huge following.
He must be a rapper.
Right.
He must be a musical artist. There's no way he could be an author of books. Maybe he just does that on the side a little bit, but he has to be a musical artist. He has to be a rapper. And that's what's messing it up. You know what I mean? And it's like, you know, some women I've approached, they were like, oh, I want to do this. And I was like, oh, there's no compensation. All right, I don't. All right, that's cool because I know you're not going to read the book anyways. I know you're not going to promote it. Right. You know, my biggest thing is like, I promote you, you promote me.
Right.
You know, I'm not going to work with you anymore if you don't promote the stuff.
Absolutely.
That's like me being a director of a film and you being the actor and we're not promoting each other. That doesn't make sense in business. It inspires a lack of respect, trust,
absolutely.
all that.
You know, you make a great point. And I just want to get into the book a little bit. Strong.
But the interesting thing about Dom and Sophia, they possess this Bonnie and Clyde relationship in the past. So, recapping from the book, book 5, Stuck Between Two Different Worlds, as you read the prologue, right? They're in the brink of the hospital where Dom got shot, and the corrupt detectives come in, and now they're questioning Dominic. Right, like I am back with another exhilarating novel. Here with the sequel of Strong Bonds Never Stuck Between Two Different Worlds. Comes a thrilling drama suspense story. Strong Bonds Never Break. Once Sophia discovers her husband Dominic's infidelity, this leaves all her emotions out of sorts. That's never an incentive for a woman who has a very short temper and a difficult time managing her emotions. Right at that same moment, some corrupt detectives walk in to receive answers to questions they have for Dominic. Now, as questions are directed towards Sophia, this places her in a major predicament. How loyal is a woman who has been betrayed? Hell has no fury like a woman scorned, they say. How much can a woman take before she breaks? Trust is greater than love. Loyalty is greater than love. Both are expensive and not everyone can afford them. Both take years to build, seconds to destroy. However, both can have a common denominator. When you possess a bond that is as strong as the links on a chain, does the bond ever break? Perhaps it does.
Absolutely.
So through this book, you kind of witness, like, what did Sophia do at that moment? They had that Bonnie and Clyde relationship, and it's like, is she going to throw him under the bus now? Because now she has the opportunity to retaliate. Most women, when they've been betrayed, what is their primal instinct? Revenge.
Right.
Right?
Right. Is she going to revenge? We shall.
We gotta
the
read
only
the
way to
book.
find that is to read the book.
Yeah, so I have a lot
Want me to
of
go into chapter books, though?
chapter books.
Yeah. Because I don't see you didn't have
I didn't
that
have
in the,
I didn't have the chapter titles, right?
in the other books.
In the
at
other
all.
one, where are the chapters? Right here.
Do you know the chapters by heart?
I know the chapters by heart.
Yeah.
All right, so let's do a little test real quick. All right. So
Memory like an elephant. What's the wager?
Wait,
though?
don't make
Wait,
it
wait.
don't make it easy. Don't go from
Wait.
one to.
I
What's the
got you.
wager? If I get it right, what's the wager?
The wager is you gotta come back to the House of Karma and stay for 2
And
hours.
I'm taking over Charles' job.
Charles. All right, so what is chapter 15?
Trust.
Okay. And chapter 11.
Oh, that's one of my favorites. Ride or Die Woman.
Oh, somebody calling? Oh, by the way, for our guests that are listening, if you guys have any questions for our guest,
E.L. Discipline.
E.L. Discipline, you can call us at 347-640-3920. And he's very open and does not hold back anything. So, like, you know, you wrote the book. This is your 6th book. What's next for you?
I mean, there might be a trilogy for that book. You gotta read it.
Okay, so you don't have any things going on.
Oh, you just reminded me. Stuck between two different worlds. Shout out to Author House, the self-publishing company. Shout out to Author House. They put me in a position to go to a pitch fest in Los Angeles. It was October 12th to 13th, 2018. I went. Yes, so a pitch fest is pretty much like you meet with these top Hollywood executives and you pretty much pitch your book. You go to table. It's kind of like speed dating. So you have like 2 to 3 minutes to just sell your stuff. So I have 4 requests for my book. I sat at 7 tables, spoke to 10 executives, and I got 4 requests for consideration of business. And eight people gave me feedback. 6 said independent film, 2 said studio film.
So
we're stuck between 2 different worlds.
So
so
there
we're
might
working
be a
on
movie.
Yes,
That's
we're working
awesome.
on the screenplay
or TV series.
Or TV series. I would
That's
love TV series because the sequel and
Right.
possible trilogy of this.
Absolutely, we need more men to men that know what they're talking about, that are in this lifestyle, to educate us women, because sometimes, like I said, like you were saying, women are so hurt nowadays and broken.
And they have guards up. So now women become these alphas, these savages, right? And they have these guards up. And because of these guards, they're like, I don't want a man to dominate me.
Right.
But it's because the man doesn't know how to lead.
Right.
They don't get that concept. A woman could still be dominant, but she could kneel to you if you know what you're doing right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Women love men who they learn from at the end of the day. They will never love men who they cannot learn from.
Or respect the man that they have to show how to be a man,
Yes.
basically. Because I wouldn't respect somebody who don't know how to be a man at all. And I mean that in
And being a man is not so much about shouts and blah, 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 and pumping your chest.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's being an influencer. It's being a leader. It's being a person that can dominate, but in a very eloquent fashion, where you could also make people develop others. You know what I mean? It's not just keeping them under your thumb. That's not dominant to me. Dominant is also someone who can develop others. You know what I mean? It's like a CEO of a company that's breeding other CEOs.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that person will always be prominent. That person will always be the CEO.
Like they say, a true leader is always trying to create more leaders, not followers.
Yeah.
But we're gonna come back with more with Author E.L Discipline right after this commercial break.
Audion Radio.
Hello, this is Anna from the Audion Show, and you're listening to
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
the Audion Radio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Let's start the party. Listen to the music, relax, and listen to the music, relax, and have fun.
Hi, this is Kelly Clarkson.
Hi, this is Madonna.
Hi, this is Sugar Bass.
Hey, I'm Mariah Carey.
Hi, I'm Robbie Williams. Hi, this is Paul McCartney.
Hey, this is Kylie.
Hi, this is Simon Cowell.
Hey, it's Katy Perry.
Hi, we're Take That.
You're in the mix with
Audion Radio.
Standing by for transmission.
Hello, my name is Araya.
And I am Selena.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher.
And when I grow up, I want to be a nurse.
Did you know that individuals who drive while sending or reading text messages are 23% more likely to be involved in a car crash more than other drivers?
Also, a car crash is typical, happens within an average of 3 seconds after a driver is distracted.
The United States Department of Transportation notes that cell phones are involved in 1.6 million auto crashes in a year.
That causes 500,000 injuries and takes 6,000 lives.
On February 19th, 2011, Ashley Jones Davis was killed in a horrific car accident. She was texting and driving when she left the center lane and drove head into a box truck. But she stopped short, writing in her final message, "I can't discuss this right now. Facebooking and driving is not safe." Because of this, a new law was made.
We have families that will miss us.
We also have futures.
There is no text that cannot wait until later.
So let's take this pledge and say no to texting and driving.
Together we can spread the word
And save a life, don't text and drive.
The coolest station online.
Yeah, that's us.
'Cause we play
This.
And we're back with Petty Talk. I'm your host. I am your Karma, and I'm here with Author E.L Discipline, and we're talking about his new books, his lifestyle. We're talking about a little bit of everything.
So with 6 books out, and 2 are prequel, sequel to each other, and maybe a trilogy, we don't know about that. Who is your favorite character that you created?
And why?
Oh, and why? That's a good question.
I think people would believe the obvious. They would think the obvious. Estrella. But
Wait, but who's Estrella?
Estrella,
for the ones who haven't read it yet and are interested in reading,
Estrella
who's Estrella?
is the slave who is the slave to a master, Dominic, the fictional character, and Sophia is the wife. That's what people would think. People would think Estrella would be the favorite character of mine because I'm a real dominant, but it's Sophia. That's the irony.
Why? And
Sophia
why?
is not submissive. She's that alpha dominant woman who's like always opposed Dom.
Has to have the last word.
Challenges.
Has the last word. She's quick with it. She's presumptuous. She's a hothead. You know what I mean? She's hot tempered. Everything that like I don't like in a woman. You know what I mean?
How ironic.
She
Lick mouth.
is. That's the irony. I love her for one major component. Ride or die, I believe, is the highest level of loyalty a woman or a man could ever have.
Right.
You know, and she has that major component. At the end of the day, she's still that caring person who may, F you and all this other stuff. You know what? Come eat.
Right.
You know what I mean? Still like, because I'm still going to take care of you. I don't like you sticking up the middle finger while he's eating or stuff like that. Like, she's still that caretaker, even though she's all these things. She's very loyal. So that's why she's my main character. She's just that ride or die. You know, that person that you need, you're going to have a heist with, boom, you come to her and she got you, no matter what.
Nice.
So for the listeners, it almost makes it sound like Estrella isn't a ride or die. Is she also, or?
Y'all gonna have to read the book.
You're gonna tease it with the book.
Y'all gonna have to read the book.
For the viewers who are listening, who don't have the visual right now, but want to know who is E.L Discipline and what he looks like, where can they find you?
Instagram discipline_beast07. Also Instagram E.L Discipline. Fitness page Fitness Education 07. And then I have a E.L Discipline fan page. Just Google me, E.L Discipline, and you'll find all my works.
Nice. And your work is, your books can be found in?
Anywhere you can find books, electronically and physically. So if you go to iBooks right now and you have an iPhone, iTunes, Google Play, if you have an Android, Amazon, if you want the physical book, Kindle, Zolo books, even in Australia. The book is Booktopia. Book is in India.
Wow.
Although it's worldwide.
That's awesome. And it's not, and let's make it clear that the book is not at all portraying women as anything less than, like it's not saying like women need to be submissive to men. It's not saying anything degrading about women at all. So a lot of people that may think, okay, this BDSM lifestyle is degrading to women, and like the feminists that are out there and think women should not submit to men. At no point are any of these books inconsiderate to us women. It's just basically educating us on a different lifestyle that's actually very common.
I believe all women are submissive, to an extent. It's kind of like they're born with it. It's embedded in their DNA. But it takes the right man. You know what I mean? Like, how they say, like, she's a freak, but she's not a freak with everybody else?
Right.
Or she's like, that's that shy girl, but it takes the right person to bring it out.
Right.
It's like submissiveness. You know what I mean? Or submission. It takes the right person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean,
women are not required to be submissive to men. Even though, like, I believe that they're born submissive, they're not required to be submissive to men.
Right. There's a lot of hurt women out there who probably gave their trust to the wrong man, and they've breaking them beyond point. So automatically, when they think of a dominant man, they think, oh, this man wants to dominate me. He just wants to control me.
Plenty of misconceptions.
Yeah. Right.
Plenty of misconceptions out there. Yeah, pretty much what they've been exposed to. You know what I mean? When you could see something like, let me be honest with you. No disrespect, but if my stuff came out before 50 Shades of Grey, that stuff would have never been hot.
Right.
Like, I'm just being honest.
I'm going to be honest with you. I still haven't watched the movie.
I watched the first one.
I still haven't even watched the first one. I heard that the second
it's
one
hard
was
with people of color, though, because of our culture.
Right.
You know what I mean? We look at certain things a certain way. So that's why when you see this, like, a person of color will say, oh, that's good Caucasian people. That's what they like. That's what they do. You know what I mean? But it's like stuff like this goes on in India that we don't know. But it's only in America that you witness this is like such taboo. This is disgusting. This is freaks. But for us people who are practitioners, 24-hour participants of this lifestyle, it's normal. It's not weird. It's normal.
Absolutely.
And in BDSM lifestyle, stop demonizing it. It's a peaceful lifestyle. You know what I mean? It's only...
You just have to find the right partner.
Yes, the right partner. Only disruptive and disrespectful acts should happen in the bedroom.
Absolutely.
Hair pulling, ass spanking, all these things. But when you're in public, respect one another. Because the more you treat her and him outside of the bedroom, the better it's going to be inside.
Absolutely.
And that's what people they're not aware of. It's all about getting to know that person. Get to know the person. That's all you have to do. Don't worry about what this man did in the past or what that man did in the past. They're both the same. Stop generalizing men. Stop generalizing females.
Right.
And start getting to know the person. Stop being lazy.
Absolutely.
Stop being lazy. There's a lot of people out there who are lazy. Get to know the person. Learn them. I'm a student of the game. I'm constantly learning because my thing is I'm not worried about what you're saying. I'm studying your idiosyncrasies. I'm studying your patterns. I'm studying your behaviors. You know, the irony of me is I'm a dominant, but I don't like submissives. I like women who are submissive to me. There's a difference.
There's a difference. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. I wish you lots of success. I know you're going to have it.
Thank you for having me.
Stuck Between Two Different Worlds and Strong Bonds Never Break is out now.
On sale everywhere now. And don't tell me you're not a reader or you don't have time to read because you read that stop sign when you got to your job. You know, whatever you did, you read that contract before you signed it. You know what I mean? You read that recipe to the food that you're cooking. Okay? So don't tell me you're reading that text. You're texting all day and you're reading that response. So don't tell me you're not a book reader. That's a lazy response.
Again, you guys can find the books all over the internet. Just Google E.L Discipline, and I will guarantee you'll be pleasantly surprised. Thank you so much, and I wish you nothing but success in all your endeavors and on the movie too, because I believe that you got it in you. Yeah,
it's gonna happen. And if it's not gonna happen, I'm gonna push for it to happen.
You're gonna make it happen. All right. So you guys know we're here on the LDM Radio. Make sure y'all follow the House of Karma on Facebook.
LDM Radio.
And I hope you guys have a good night. Bye.
The best radio station in the world. Is right here, right now.